Today that's going to go into videos. I've got that going on. Back up here. Let's get this started. I release myself to the mastermind because I am strong when I have others to help me. I believe the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I am open to looking at myself, my problems, and opportunities from another's point of view. I decide to release my desire totally in trust to the mastermind, and I am open to accepting new possibilities. I forgive myself for mistakes I have made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past, so I can move into the future with a clean slate. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires. And I hear my mastermind partners supporting me in my fulfillment. I accept. I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need. I am grateful, knowing this is so. Hello, this is Kaylin Huntress with the Weekly Accountability Mastermind. Thanks for joining me today. Go ahead and say hello in the chat box here on YouTube to let me know where in the world are you. Type it in the chat box and let me know where you are. I am in New Zealand, so I'm going to type in hello from New Zealand because that's where I am right now. And I'd like to know, where are you in the world? Oh my gosh, we've already jumped into wins? No, we're not in wins yet. Come on, countdown timer. I'm playing with some new tech, getting these live streamed masterminds going here on YouTube. This is an experiment. Trying out these this sort of live interaction. I've been playing a lot with Ecamm Live, which is the app that I'm using to do this. And I also tried something new today. I didn't send email notifications to people on my list who have said, yes, I'm interested, and the people who attended last week. So the experiment this week is to see, did the calendar invitation or the YouTube notifications sufficiently remind people to attend? And I'm not seeing any activity in the chat box, which means it's likely that nobody's here. And my lighting stinks anyway. Look at this. My shoulder is disappearing. There's just like a whole lot of mess. My lighting in this room is not sufficient for doing professional video work. And the way that I've put this mastermind together is not sufficient to get people in here. So if I don't see anybody say hello in the next couple of minutes, I'm just going to make this a fast failure. There's this saying in Thought Leaders Business School, which is this program that I belong to fail fast and quietly. And I think that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and fail this mastermind because I wanted to experiment with the tech, and I had a hypothesis that the whole webinar registration, email notification thing that I'm quite adept at with digital marketing is not the only way to get people to come together. And what I'm seeing here by the lack of engagement in this experiment is that this has been unsuccessful. So instead of sharing our wins and our challenges and our commitments today, I'm just going to go ahead and call this a fail. So if you're watching this on the replay, lucky you. I made this unlisted and I don't know how you found it, but I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of these off my calendar and stop doing it because I don't have people showing up. So hey, Eric, you showed up. I am glad you're here. Since there is one person here, I'll go ahead and run the rest of the session, but there's not a whole lot of activity because people aren't here. So tell me, Eric, what were your wins? I'm going to give us 3 minutes to put wins in the chat box. What were your wins from this past week? Jonathan is here. Aha, people attended late. At least we've got some people here. Thanks for coming, gents. Write your wins into the chat box. What were your wins this week? What were your wins? One more minute. Go ahead and write some more wins in the chat box. What are you grateful for? What can you celebrate? Thirty more seconds. What else happened this week that was great? All right. Wrap up the wins. Jonathan, I'm impressed. You're doing voice to text in the car. That's dedication. Thanks for that. Great. Eric, congratulations on the book title. I'd love to know what the working book title is. Type it in the chat box. Let me know what it is that you got set up. Getting Kajabi and Stripe connected? That's geeky. Well done, Jonathan. That is difficult. Excellent. All right, and those big aha moments Sometimes that's the win. Is that was a lot of my wins this week too, is having the insight and the realization on some things. I didn't move forward on some projects, but I understood what it is that I needed to do to move forward on them. All right, so I'm going to take this countdown timer over here and change it to challenges. I can change my background too. All right, so now I want to know what challenges you faced. Go ahead and type your challenges into the chat box. Let's take 3 minutes and write some challenges. Good title. Take 1 more minute, write in the challenges. Twenty more seconds. Let's wrap it up. All right. So since I'm playing with new tech here in Ecamm, not only can I put things on the screen, I can also put comments on the screen, but I'm still learning how to do this and make it formatted right. So I appreciate you, gentlemen, helping me do this. So Jonathan, your big challenge is time. A time machine would be great. I hear you. So if anybody wants to come on screen, I'm popping a link here into the chat box if you want to have some hot seat coaching. Again, this is new tech. I don't know how this is going to go. So this could blow up in our faces. But let's see if this works. Yeah, Jonathan, the best way that we can get more time is by taking things out of our schedule, deciding what not to do. You know, the author of The Little Prince, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, said, no, it was actually Steve Jobs. No, I think it was the Little Prince author. He said, perfection's achieved not when there's nothing left to add, but there's nothing left to take away. It was one of those two guys. I don't have it right on the tip. I don't remember quite who it was. But yeah, the time is a constant challenge. And so reprioritizing is the best thing that we can do. Deciding what we really can not do. As some of you might know, I deal with chronic fatigue. And so I've become ruthless about my priorities. And if something doesn't contribute directly towards helping me achieve my big main goals in life, I just throw it right out. That's why, like, when I thought nobody was here, I was ready to just call this whole thing a fail and walk away. And so I invite you, Jonathan, to interrogate your priorities and decide to let some of them go. It's about the only way that we can get more time is by taking time from the things that don't matter. And how do you decide? Out of all the things you can do, this is a real big challenge, Jonathan. I mean, you're a polymath like me. How can we figure what is the most important to do and what is the least important to do? And I guess it comes back to, the biggest priorities in your life. Do you have obligations that don't feed those biggest priorities? I love this thing that you said in the chat here, Eric, that because of Jonathan's 6 extra cables that he found in cleaning up the office, that's how the NSA is listening. But I want to dive deep on what you said here, Eric, about finding the right people to talk to about your avatar. One of the best ways that I've found to do this is to start publishing on your topic. By writing and publishing through your own blog, through your newsletter, through Medium, through LinkedIn, the right kinds of people you'll get traction with them. And they'll start saying, hey, they'll comment, they'll interact. And then that select group of people, they become your beta group. And if you want to grow that group fast, the best way that I know how to do that is with surveys. You can create a simple free survey on Google Forms or SurveyMonkey or somewhere online. Typeform is really good. I really like their design. And then you find people who you think are in the target market and say, hey, I want to know the top challenges you're facing in this field. Could you take my 3-minute survey? Collecting 50 responses to a survey like that will get you practical feedback. And it'll also get you a cohort of people that you can go to and ask specifically. Identifying the characteristics of a target market is, it's challenging. And so what I'll do is I'll put my customer avatar workbook here in the chat box. It's linked in, I don't have the link very handy, but I have a link to this post, which goes through it. And so it goes through like how to make a customer avatar in 5 easy steps, and how you can isolate the characteristics of who's in your target market. So hopefully you'll find that helpful. Jonathan, this is a big experiment. How many ways can voice to text misspell my name? There's a lot, I'd say there's at least a dozen. I haven't found a voice to text program that spells my name right. So it's not really going to be getting anywhere anytime soon. So I want to remind you guys of this link. If anybody wants to come on to the interview mode and help me troubleshoot this, we've got a few minutes left for challenges. Feel free to hop on this link and jump on and we'll do some hot seat coaching. My big challenge this week has been dealing with chronic fatigue. And, my energy isn't what it once was. I worked the hardest that I ever have when I came here to New Zealand. And I spent a year working 2 jobs and I nearly worked myself into the grave. And I got this autoimmune disorder that prevents me from working as hard as I'm accustomed to. Being an American and having a hard work ethic, I'm used to just saying, I will do all the things. And the last few years have really challenged me to find a way to do only the things that matter. And discerning what are those things that matter, that's what I've spent a lot of my rest time over the last couple of years figuring out how to do. Because it'll be 2 in the afternoon and I've got stuff to do and I can't do anything but lie in bed. And figuring out what not to do has become a lot more important than how well I do my work. So it's that phrase, Jonathan, to interrogate your priorities. If a priority shows up on my to-do list, I look at it with skepticism. I don't trust my priorities because I always have too many. And the ones that are the most likely to keep me down are the ones that that are the least likely to move me forward. Here, I'll share a tweet with you real quick before we move on to commitments. Use a new tech, so this might not work, but let's see. I want to do my desktop share to show you this tweet that I did last week. I had a to-do list, and there was a lot I wanted to do. And I had to tell my to-do list to piss off because I was changing. So I said, piss off, to-do list. I'm metamorphosizing. I'm not even sure if that's a word, but hopefully the how do I put it? Metamorphosizing, yeah. That change is often a lot more productive than the stuff that we could get doing. But the stuff has its own place, right? And that's why we're going to talk about commitments. So we're going to do this in two parts. The first is I want you to write your commitments in the chat box. No, we're not going to do the timer yet. We are going to review commitments from last week because you may need to recommit to some of these. And so the commitments that I have from last week, I'm just going to go ahead and type these into the chat box. Since Eric, you're here, your commitments were to have a clear idea and first steps planned and even done. Did you do it? Did you outline your book or your product? Did you mind map it? Write in the chat box. Let me know if you achieved your commitments. Those are your commitments from last week. And Jonathan, I'm going to post your commitments in here. Jonathan, your commitments were to select a social media content distribution platform, which one, to import your current email list into Kajabi, and to start the survey in Google Forms. Did you achieve those commitments? Type it in the chat box and give me a yes or a no. I'll share with you my commitments and how many I did not achieve, because I did not achieve all of my commitments. Here's one of my commitments. I had more than these, but my commitments were to do a morning gratitude journaling practice 5 out of 7 days. I had it a low commitment, not even every day, and I did not achieve my commitment. I got 3. My other commitment was to turn screens off at 8 p.m., and I didn't do that either. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set a timer on my phone right now, an alarm for 8 p.m. to turn off screens every day. I've used this before and it's been handy in the past. I don't know why I didn't have this on, but this is my new, I'm going to recommit to this. Okay? So my commitment is to turn off screens at 8 p.m. And I've set an alarm. And I want you to write your commitments here in the chat box. I'll give you the link again in a moment. We'll do that after the end of the half hour. But for right now, write your commitments for this week. What are your commitments for this week? What are you going to do this week? Type it in the chat box. One more minute. Thirty more seconds. All right. Wrap it up. If you haven't put your commitments into the chat box, go ahead and do it now. All right, Eric, these are great commitments to finish the book planning with the new insights. That's awesome. I'm going to type a link in the chat box for another video I made where I talk about my my book planning process in Trello. It's really geeky. It gets into the weeds. I might have given that to you next week. Great, Jonathan. You got your commitments on Kajabi and Stripe. So, do you want to recommit to the rest of those? You can just type recommit. I know you're mobile right now, or anything specific that you want to be held accountable for. I'll check in with you next week on anything that you type in the chat box here. Great. My commitments are I'm recommitting to gratitude journaling because I didn't do this. So I'm going to recommit to it. And I want to publish 3 videos on anything. I just got to publish 3 videos this week because I'm trying to get to 100 live streams by the end of the year, and I'm at 16. And I'm going to turn off screens at 8 p.m. This alarm on my phone, I think, is going to help me do it. So I'm going to put this link for interview mode here in the chat box. It is an Ecamm Live link. And Eric, or Jonathan, if you'd like to tap on that, it'll take you through some prompts to bring you into interview mode here in Ecamm Live. And I've never used this before. So you'll be my guinea pig, and we'll do this experiment to see how it works together. So if you'd like to try that, then we can continue the conversation on here. These commitments, I think, are going to be doable this week. This, for me, is the whole purpose of having a mastermind, is to set the container to identify what is it that I want to do this week and articulate what this week means to me and who I want to be at the end of the week and what I want to have accomplished. So hopefully, by setting these commitments yourself, you'll be able to do this as well. Excellent. Eric is joining. I'm going to pick this up here. You're in the green room now. So I'm going to add you in here. Hello, Eric. Thank you for joining me today.
Hello, Caitlin. I'm hearing another voice too.
You're hearing another voice too?
Well, I'm hearing you live on the YouTube.
Mm-hmm. So you'll probably need to mute the YouTube.
Yeah, hang on. Let me go back.
Eric is joining. I'm going to pick this up here. You're in the green room. Excellent.
Right.
I'm going to add you in here. Hello, Eric.
Hey there. Okay, good. Before I
joining me today.
hang on. Good. I'm glad to see. No, no. Now I'm good. Now,
Another voice too.
no, I'm hearing you.
Okay, great, great. Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on camera. This is fun. I learned all sorts of new stuff. Like my green screen is very distracting.
So here's a wrinkle. Can you hear me, Caitlin?
Yeah, you're coming through.
So the other recording is in the background. There's a delay
There's
of
a
about
delay.
6 seconds of the other. How do I mute?
Okay, great. Yeah, you got to navigate to YouTube where you were listening to it before and hit the mute button on YouTube. Like my green screen is very distracting. So, Jonathan, best of luck on these commitments to help your mom move, to eat healthy on your trip. Yes, pack a good lunch, and to set up the next community coaching event, and work out 4 times. Get buff, my friend. Great.
Caitlin, so, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Am I echoing now, or do you hear me just once?
No, I got the other thing turned off. I turned the volume off. It took a few little things. I had to turn the volume down on YouTube, and now I'm here with you, so I'm not hearing myself from 10 seconds ago. Anyway.
Fantastic. Well, what do you need some help with this week, my friend?
Well, when you mentioned that to publish, it's so interesting because that's been like front of mind for me for weeks now. And I also, one of my realizations over this past week was I really need to get back to that. I've been thinking about starting to put stuff on YouTube. I've done Facebook Lives. I'm not doing anything right now. I have so much stuff to put out. I guess the question is, on my Facebook, just like to get my foot in the door on my Facebook page, or I'm not connected with Medium. I know Medium. I'd love to get on there and start getting stuff there. I don't necessarily know how to do that, but I can find that out. Yeah. What would you say?
Well, I like the Portuguese proverb, think of many, do one.
Yeah, I know.
Come up with lots of ideas and encourage those ideas. Collect them, organize them however you need to. But the one thing that matters is what's going to get you customers. So where does your market hang out? Where do they like to consume content?
Yeah. And that's one of the things it's a little bit of a catch-22 because Facebook, to some degree, most likely, my presence there is minimal. Most likely, LinkedIn.
Yeah,
is probably Facebook is Facebook.
Facebook is a challenge because you have to pay to play. They will not show your content very often unless you're taking out ads. And it's just a mess over there right now. If you're working in the professional market, Eric, working with LinkedIn, tagging your potential customers in posts, interacting on their posts. Here's the best shortcut I know on LinkedIn. Make a list of 50 to 100 of your ideal customers, people who are already in your network that you're already connected with. And follow them on LinkedIn and interact with their posts. Like everything they do. Comment on their, get interactive with them. And then share their posts. If there's something that somebody in your network does that's interesting, invite them into a further conversation by sharing their post, expanding it to their network, and adding to the conversation. Polls are really good on LinkedIn right now. You can do LinkedIn Live, but I haven't had much traction with it. I find the interface to be clunky and there's not a lot of reach with it. But native videos seem to do well. If you record a video that's short, that's less than a minute, and upload it to LinkedIn, you do that once a day and you should start seeing some traction.
Okay. I need to get become more fluent with LinkedIn for sure. I
Yeah,
knew that, and thank you for kicking my butt there on that.
you're welcome. Yeah, one of the things that I like to do, Eric, is if I'm ever in an opportunity to follow up with people on LinkedIn, if we're on Zoom and I've got 15 people in a room, then I'll say, hey, can we do a fun game real quick? It's called a cheese grid. I'm going to take a picture of the Zoom grid while everybody says cheese. So I'm going to count to 3 and everybody say cheese, and I take a screenshot of everybody smiling. And then I post it on LinkedIn. I tag everybody in it, and I give some highlights from the meeting so that everybody that was in the meeting gets interaction with me, gets highlighted, and it tells the LinkedIn algorithm that I'm doing something for community building. It's more than just, hey, go read my blog post over here. It's weaving the network on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's algorithm likes that. So anytime you can create an opportunity to tag people on LinkedIn or share their stuff, it's a good way to build relationships and network on that platform.
That's fantastic. Thank you. That's great. That's great. And I love that. I think of many, do one. That needs to be my mantra. and but that's great, because you know what? I think I just needed a kick in the ass to explore LinkedIn, and I'm going to do that. That's going to be my thing.
Great. So articulate your commitment for me and write it in the chat box here on YouTube.
Okay. Cool.
Is it going to be like posting every day? Is it going to be tagging somebody? Like, figure out precisely what it is and write it here in the chat box.
Okay. Okay. Should I go there now? Go back there now and leave you?
Yeah,
leave
go
you
back
here?
there now. Thanks so much for joining me on my very first Ecamm interview. I appreciate it, Eric.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. All right. Have fun out there. All right. That was fun. Jonathan, I'm sorry you couldn't get Ecamm to work on your mobile. Maybe next time, if you're at your desk, I know that we can get it to work and do some hot seat coaching right there. I'm continuing to play with this stuff, with the green screen stuff, with the Ecamm stuff, and it's all an experiment to me right now. So I appreciate all of you participating in this experiment with me, and accepting the technical difficulties as part of the show. But this is really fun. I like meeting with you every week and checking in on our commitments. And hopefully I will see you again next week. So you can just pop on to YouTube. If you're subscribed to my channel, then you'll get a notification at airtime. There's also a link that I'll pop here in the chat box if you want to get a calendar invitation to the next meeting. And this calendar invitation will have an alarm on it so that you can, it'll show up 5 minutes before on your calendar and say, hey, go over here. And there's a link in there that's evergreen. Jonathan, you said that you had the wrong link from last week, and it changes every week. And so the final link I'll put here in the chat box is the evergreen link that I'm using for this mastermind. So if you click on this link, stellarplatforms.com/WAM for Weekly Accountability Mastermind, it'll send you to the upcoming session. And so I'm going to change that redirect later today. I'll leave it here for a few hours so that if anybody comes in late, they can watch the replay. And also, if you can't make it live, feel free to watch the replay. And you can write in your wins, challenges, and commitments and take the time to articulate those items. So excellent. Eric's got one last commitment to update the LinkedIn profile and post each day. That's awesome. Eric, if you'd like to tag me in a post and talk about your mastermind experience, then I'll like and comment and share and do all the things, and we'll get some LinkedIn engagement on there together. All right, so I will see you gentlemen next week. Have fun out there. Oops, I have an outro that I'm not getting to. Here we go. What a fail.